Good morning. This is not the Bulldog, but it's Dr. Dan. I am in here with the gang. If you read the newsletter promo, you know that the Bulldog is recalibrating. I'm going to leave that up to your imagination. Recalibrating. That means he's going to come back with more passion, more political fire, more legalese.
Lord help us.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, I'm delighted to be here with the gang. Just so you know, we're going to let you communicate with us much like you do the Bulldog. My phone number, 859-816-1354. If you'd like to text a question, an idea, an assumption, it's just know this. It's a no snarky zone, okay? No snarky. Be nice. I know you're used to being snarky, but and my email address, this will surprise you.
Oh, boy, you're giving that out.
Oh, boy, here we go. ukguy.dan@gmail.com. Long story there. That's right. Yeah, what school do I like? All right, well, we're going to do what Eric normally does, and that is we're going to do some news. We're going to do some inspiration. I'm going to talk a little bit about what my political perspective is. You know, we ministers, most of us do not take stands, and there are some political reasons for that. There are some theological reasons for that, and there are actually some legal reasons for doing that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, the Reds dropped Game 3. That was not good. They had been leading 2-0. Some of the highlights of all people, 8 Golden Gloves. Scott Rowland bobbles a short hop, giving Arias time to score a throw at a go-ahead in extra innings. San Francisco struck out 16 times.
Wow.
Was Homer on yesterday?
He was, yeah. Just gave up the one run.
Oh, man.
With the, he hit somebody, walked somebody, sack bunt, sack fly.
Yeah.
Just that quick, and then it was the only run he gave up.
I will tell you, Homer is on right now.
Yeah, he is.
Lights out.
You can't blame that on Rowland last night.
Oh, no, you can't.
The pass ball had just as much to do with it
Exactly.
that got the runners to second and third, and then, Rowland's there, of course, scored the run, so that's why he's getting most of the blame, but, they didn't hit either.
No.
They didn't hit for 10 innings.
And Broxton, he had his back to the wall, but wow. He's just, I don't know if you've noticed, but he is a big boy.
Oh, he's a big guy.
When he comes off that mound, it's like a linebacker and some. Reds game today, an old-timer, Barry Zito, is going to go against Latos. Hall of Famer Marty Brenneman will throw out the first pitch. Gates open at 2:07, and the game starts at 4:07. They're going to have those towels out again. It was kind of cool to see those towels all over the place last night. It was a lot of noise in that place.
They got the Goodyear blimp flying overhead.
But there was one of the girls on Channel 5. They were down at the ballpark this morning, and they were saying there's directions on the towels that you're not supposed to wave them when our team is getting ready to bat. She said everybody was she said there's directions on the towels. Don't do it. It's distracting. She's like, I don't know. I can't imagine.
Never seen them at I never seen directions. I used to get them at the Bengals games pretty regularly. They would get them, but what you really hate is when Pittsburgh comes to town and they had those those towels in there.
Well, that's what everybody's copying.
I know
now everybody has a towel.
I'd just soon them not do it. But,
yeah, exactly.
if it revs people, so be it. But if I paid a lot for a ticket, I wouldn't like that. If somebody's standing in front of me waving a towel.
Yeah, exactly. Just ignoring.
That's right. And I don't know if
what happened to chucking batteries on the field?
How about a naked man? What was the guy yesterday? I didn't. Of course, they don't show it on TV. But
I didn't actually start listening to the game until about the second inning. I heard there was somebody that ran on.
Was he? He had a sign, ran on.
Like that song, way back when, the streak, whatever.
Maybe it was the Bulldog. Did the Bulldog run on the field last night?
I had been thinking about this. Maybe that was the first step to his recalibration.
Butt naked,
right?
He runs out on the field with a pro-Romney sign, or probably anti-Obama sign, really.
Right.
I bet it was a Bulldog sign.
Bulldog sign.
One of those two-sided signs.
Well, he had a Bulldog flag.
Flipping it over.
Bulldog flag,
Flipping it over. But the question for me, as soon as I heard it, of course, they never go and let you see them. My first question is, did you pay for your ticket? I mean, really, did you pay for your ticket? Because you're gone now. I mean, there's no way.
Probably at least $60 on a ticket.
Did you see the lady in the newspaper who is from San Francisco? Get this. She spent, I think it was, I don't know, $400, $500, $600 for her tickets.
Wow.
She scalped them on StubHub. She travels here. She has hotels reserved for every location that San Francisco might play at.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, and they're down 2-0 when she comes to town. I mean, I've heard of faith, but that's beyond faith.
Yeah, that's...
Well, if you got the money to dump into it.
Right on. Quote of the day: the right to be left alone is the most comprehensive of rights and the right most valued in civilized men.
Run that by me one more time there, Dan.
The right to be left alone.
I know a little more about this because this Brandeis guy, Louis Brandeis, let me tell you who he was. When I read about him, I thought, this could be the Bulldog. I mean, he was called the People's Lawyer. Some even called him the Robin Hood of law. Now, does that sound like the Bulldog or
what?
what?
That's the dog, like a rebel.
He lived in the early 1900s. He was the Justice of the Supreme Court, nominated by W.W. Woodrow Wilson. Guess what? He was Kentucky-born. He was from Louisville and Harvard Law School graduate at 20 years of age. How old was the dog when he graduated from law school? And has he said that to us?
Yeah, I think so.
When he around,
like
he wasn't much older than that, I think, because he graduated from high school.
I was going to say 15, right?
Then 19, so early 20s. Yeah, 22, 23. Yeah. And he had the highest grade point average in history at Harvard Law School. All that to say, the right to be left alone is the most comprehensive of rights and the right most valued in civilized men. Now, basically, if you know much about law, that means the right to privacy, and that obviously continues to be a big deal. Today in history, I'm a history buff. 1932, Betty and Bob premieres on the radio. First daytime serial soap opera. And the guy who played Bob, particularly when it went on radio, was Don Amici. You remember Don?
When was this?
1932.
No,
I remember him well. Yeah, it was back in my head.
I was going to say, if you're remembering, you're watching some cable somewhere.
Oh, no, I don't remember it.
I don't remember it.
I read about it.
I'm laughing at him remembering it.
I knew that Garrett would remember that.
I wonder where they get some of this stuff sometimes.
I do, too. 1933, the first synthetic detergent, Dreft. Now, is the Dreft still around?
Dreft. I believe it is for baby clothes.
Absolutely. It is still around for fine washables. 1959, Pan American begins regular flights around the world. And does anybody remember how long ago they collapsed? It was 1991. And I will tell you that my wife is disappointed because, there's a Pan Am series that came out.
They're on HBO, isn't it?
And she liked that, and I haven't seen it come back on, so I don't know if it's off or not. But I thought it was gone. So too bad. 1973. Now we're starting to get into the time when I was a wee little lad. But Vice President Spiro Agnew. Guess what his real name was? His last name. Yeah, Calamity Jane. Anagnostopoulos.
Are you sure? You sure you read that right?
No, I'm not. Anagnostopoulos.
Anagnostopoulos.
I read that thing 44 times last night.
That kind of sounds like something you could say to your wife.
Yeah, that's right.
Anagnostopoulos.
That's right. But he pleads no contest to tax evasion and resigns. He had a famous quote that I think all of us would be encouraged to hear this morning. He said, 3 things have been difficult to tame, to take care of. The oceans, fools, and women.
What was that again? 3 things that you what?
3 things that have been difficult to tame.
Oh, women.
T-A-M-E.
Okay. I was wanting to make sure.
The oceans, fools, and women. He says, we may soon be able to tame the oceans, but fools and women, they will take a little longer.
Well, let me tell you something. He was dead on, Dan.
That's right, Dan. Garrett's the fool and I'm the woman. So it's going to take a lot longer to tame us in here.
I didn't know I had a fool and a woman in the room.
Can't tame her.
I got to give it to,
And speaking of a woman you can't tame, 1975, Liz Taylor's sixth marriage. Does anybody remember how many times she got married?
6?
8.
More than I was gonna
8?
say,
It was
yeah.
8. I looked at. I could not believe that. 8 times. She just died in 2011, so it hadn't been that long ago. Lead singer Steve Perry joins Journey in 1978, and we're going to be hearing something from them. Fleetwood Mac, 1979, gets a star in the Hollywood Hall of Fame, Walk of Fame. They started in London in 1967, and then The Boss, Bruce Springsteen, released his 9th album, Tunnel of Love. Now, anybody ever know why they called him The Boss? I never knew this, and
Something about New Jersey, his Jersey roots.
you would have thought that. Well, he had a little bit of an edge to him because they've always talked about the Jersey roots issue, but he was, he was inspired by Elvis early on, and he got the nickname from being younger and playing with older guys. And they actually even made him the boss in that he collected the money and gave the money to the band members. So he was kind of the boss. I know a young kid goes to Ryle High School. Matter of fact, since he was about in the 6th grade, he just kind of takes control of things. He's everybody's friend, and they call him the governor.
Yeah.
And so the boss got his name that way. And
A lot of Bruce fans out there. A lot of old people I know big into
very
Bruce
much so.
Springsteen.
Old people listen to him.
there you go. People
I can remember
that are,
seeing.
That's right. Yeah. People over 40, old people. I
A
know
lot
about
of you
those.
old folks. I
That's
haven't even throw 30 and up in there. You guys are old.
That's right.
Anything over 30 to somebody in their 20s.
That's right. He's exactly right. My kids look at me, and my wife has a broken ankle right now, and my kids look at me, and
These are
and
just
her.
brittle old people to
I'm
them.
telling you, they
You
said,
know what?
Dad, we're going to have to get you a little wheelchair to start going around.
Oh, we got a lot of music
We do.
news out there, so good. Well, maybe we'll hear from those.
Well, he's going to be.
Artistes.
He's like in concert too, because I was thinking I just heard something about Bruce, and he's in Hamilton, Ohio, on October
Really?
21st. Yeah, so that's
Bruce
pretty-
is?
I just pulled
That's
it up.
unbelievable.
Yeah, Hamilton. This Hamilton?
This Hamilton?
That's what it says.
Hillbilly
I mean,
Hamilton?
Wow.
Would you? Hamilton, Ohio.
There you go. Well,
Second one, third one down on the list. If you go to the website. On what?
there you go.
It is?
Ontario.
Yeah, that's close to Hamilton.
Canada. Yeah, I mean, it's
Well,
a
wait a
short
minute.
drive.
Yeah.
Maybe, what, an 8
It's
hour
not
drive?
far
There's
away.
other places in here. But I'm telling you, I heard that he was going to be close. He's going to be close around at some point, or he just was. So
Bruce, I
I'm-
think, played Wrigley like a month or two ago.
Okay.
Did he?
think he's a little bigger than Hamiltucky.
Yep. I
There you
suspect
go.
you're right.
Well, he's going to be in Virginia, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. So he's out there. Louisville, Kentucky, November 3rd. Maybe that's what I
There
heard.
you go.
There you go.
Okay,
Oh,
there you
Kinda
go.
close.
Now we
The
got it.
KFC Yum Center.
All right, we better get rocking with a song here. ClassX Radio. I think we're going to do this little song called Don't Stop Believin' by Journey.
Class X. The music speaks for itself.
Well, music doesn't speak, it sings, really. Well, sometimes it screams, I guess, but anyway, here's a bunch of rock and roll.
Welcome back. This is ClassX Radio, Rock Radio. We're going to do some radio superbity this morning, even though the Bulldog is recalibrating. And one of the best ways to recalibrate is finding out if you've got any traffic this morning. So, Denise, can you help us with that?
Well, really, I was just looking around. There's not a whole lot going on. There's just a broken down car that might slow you down eastbound on 74 right around or just near Coleraine. So watch for that. There you go, Coleraine in the news. No accidents on Coleraine. There haven't been any for the last couple of days. So that's at
Away,
least.
Coleraine.
I know.
Keep it up.
We got a big old gold star going out there for him so far.
Have we got any update on the helicopter?
The helicopter. Garrett, when is the helicopter
Still
going
in
to
the
be back
shop.
up?
I'm waiting for a part. I'm waiting for a part.
Are you?
Yeah, and as soon as I get that, I can put it in there, and then we'll get back in the sky.
We're going to have to get a Camel, if not, I guess. Something like that.
I'm for
get out
that.
there to.
We need to get that taken care of before the
Send
Bulldog
Denise
gets
out
back.
there in a hovercraft or
Yep.
something to check on the.
I understand
Conditions.
It'll fly. We just don't have a landing gear in it. So, we'll just keep flying around the city until we run out of
Once
gas.
you run out of gas, you're screwed.
The remote control doesn't
Remote
work, and I don't want to
control.
get up
Sorry,
in
shoot.
there. So
I hear you. We got some famous birthdays today. Jody Lynn O'Keefe. This is for you youngsters.
Famous Who?
Nash Bridges, she played. Remember Nash Bridges? I didn't know her that well. And in Prison Break, she's in that as well.
No, I don't.
She's a movie star. Anyway, Dale Earnhardt, we know who that is. Mario Lopez, 39. Brett Favre, we know who he is. Football player, 43. Tanya Tucker, 54. David Lee Roth of Van Halen. That's right, 58. He's one of those old guys, Garrett. And then this next guy, I want to see how many of you know him. And if you don't, I guarantee you've heard his voice. Peter Coyote. Anybody? He's 71 today.
Oh, does he sing like really, just, I don't want to say classical, I'm thinking
real smooth voice, but he's more of an actor speaker. Have you heard the iPad commercial?
That's he's how old?
He's 71.
What commercial? The
iPad. He is the voice behind the iPad.
He's 71. He's
got a smooth voice. Yeah, we're getting ready to put him in the grave. Theodolos Monk. He is a jazz pianist. I did not know that.
Pianist.
He's
a pianist.
He's a pianist.
Yep.
And I did not know that he has
he's a classical pianist.
The second most. No, he's jazz. His second most recorded behind the Duke of Ellington.
Oh, the Duke of Ellington was a great pianist, and then this guy was probably number 2 of all-time pianists.
All right, I'm going to have one more. You know, it went south yesterday. I was listening to that as it went south, and I said, now what happens? What happens tomorrow if I'm sitting in the studio and we go south, and I try to keep getting us back to north?
You might be outnumbered in here.
I am done. Okay. And Daniel Pearl, this is on the very serious side of life. It would have been his birthday, but he was the American journalist Jewish American journalist actually, who worked for the bureau chief, Wall Street Journal. He was the guy that went to Pakistan to do a story, and they kidnapped him and beheaded him. That's right. Ew. It was a gory story, and if you ever wanted to get a little bit ticked, that's it. Much more light schedule. Today is also known as Angel Food Cake Day. Who likes Angel Food Cake?
I'm a big fan of that. So you put some strawberries, a little whipped cream on there.
Oh, yeah. If you mix the whipped cream with pineapple and pudding mix.
Oh, I hate pineapple.
Well, then don't mix it with pineapple.
I'm not a fan of pineapple.
Well, mix a box of dry pudding in with whipped cream, and it's like vanilla, or you can mix strawberry or whatever, and then you put it on the Angel Food Cake. Well, try it.
Well, you make some and bring it in tomorrow.
I'll make some.
We do it with fondue at our house. You dip it in the fondue. We did that Saturday. My wife's birthday was this weekend. Then cake decorating day and dress up day. Rumor has it there's going to be a bunch of people dressing up for the dog's party. And there is this search going on for who knows what the Bulldog will come at. I understand yeah, that's right. There's a couple people in here that know, and we're going to turn the heat up even more.
I think Obama.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
A couple of one people in this room know, and that's me.
Yeah, that's right.
What are you guys going? What are you guys going as? You got ideas?
I've got. My wife is a Halloween fanatic.
She's a junkie, huh?
We've won 2 Halloween contests.
Really?
Oh yeah. No. And we'll probably be going as what she calls prisoners of love, and I'm Dr. Love.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Love.
I'm Dr. Love.
There you go.
And if we go in, we have this black uniform on, and then we have these large pair of handcuffs that we put around our bodies. It was really handcuffs, so we call ourselves prisoners of love.
Wow.
Is that all you wore, just the handcuffs?
That was it. No.
That's it. There's naked other than that.
I will. It's funny you mentioned we decided one year to go as Adam and Eve, so we got these little outfits.
Funny.
Have you seen these?
No, but that would be funny out of the
We put these on, and my daughter walks in about the time we put these on, and she says, "You can't wear this in public."
Oh, no.
I mean, they are skin tight, and, Fig leaves, that's right. You had to put a fig leaf there, but everybody knew, I mean, it was one of those things where you really don't want to wear that in public.
All right, yeah.
Was it just fig leaves, or was it like the whole body?
No, it was the body. Oh, the whole body.
The whole body was on there. So it didn't matter.
You slide into that.
Who is this?
This is Adam and Eve. If you go to a Halloween contest, yeah, you buy this little uniform and it's skin tight.
As long as Eve is hot, then
I can tell you this case. My wife is hot.
That's what I was just saying. they're talking about they were going to go that way, and his daughter said, no, you're not going out looking like that.
Oh, no. And we're at the age where if we do any necking, our kids just spit and throw up and all that stuff.
And how old are the kids?
Oh, our kids are now 27 and 25.
Yeah, and they still gag. Yeah, that's still. I can.
Yeah.
What are you going as, Denise?
Yeah.
I haven't figured that out yet. I got a couple of weeks.
She goes a nudist.
A nudist?
A nudist.
No. I
What about
that would be as bad as Adam and Eve. So
yeah,
that would.
That's right.
Yeah.
that'd be nothing. That'd be worse.
How about you, Gary?
I think Jake and I. Well, if we're still on for this,
Oh,
Jake,
you should do it totally.
we may tag team the Chris Farley, David Spade
I knew you
combo.
had to. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have
little
to.
Fat guy and a little coat.
Absolutely.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have to do. Zim, you know what you're going to go as? A videographer or something, Zim?
I'm going to disguise myself as a camera guy.
Yeah.
I hear you.
There you go.
All right. Do we have any more traffic over there, Denise?
We don't. We have no traffic going on right now. Wait. Let me take that back.
Just when you think-
I take it back.
There's
just another. No. Florence, which, you know what, 71, 75, you always have issues. But this is just another broken down car. It says just the right shoulder block, 275 westbound right around Mineola. So just watch for that. Everything else seems like it's okay.
All right. We got a rock and roll song, In Your Eyes. This is ClassX Radio. ClassX Radio. Dr. Dan filling in for the Bulldog while he's recalibrating. We're going to stay within the newsletter for the next few minutes here. Feel-good song of the day is Dean Taylor, Taylor. Indiana Wants Me. It's one of those kind of sad songs from a story. He's Canadian. And military deaths, guess what? None to report. That's good, and that points us to the daily scripture, rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. It's something to rejoice about when there's none to report. Speaking of joy, our joy gets depleted by three things: hurry, worry, and a friend of mine uses the word slurry.
Hurry, worry, and slurry.
Hurry, worry, and slurry. Slurry is, I didn't know this, but it's a kind of cement. And he uses it in the sense of muck and the madness that clogs your life. Which one of those clogs your joy? Hurry, worry, or slurry?
Gosh, I'd say all of them.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you think about it, it really does. You hurry through everything, you worry about everything.
It seems like maybe one leads to the next. Hurry leads to worry, and worry leads to slurry when things get tied up.
Yeah.
Are you a hurry kind of guy, Garrett?
No.
That's what I thought. I knew that.
I just like to lay back, do it my own time. Chill out.
Chill out.
And then he'll never be stressed out, will he? You won't lose your hair.
Yep.
All that hair.
Right. All this hair I get to keep.
Oh, and now we're to that point in our radio superbity where we get to talk about the jack wagons. North Side Independent School District in Texas. The students in the school district have been turned away from school functions and have also been blocked from libraries and cafeterias for refusing to wear a microchip, engraved student ID that tracks their location. Wow. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Jackwagon!
Alexandria Lapp, the House Majority PAC, she said in an email that the Democrats need more money to kick the extremist, quote, parentheses, Republicans out of Congress.
You jackwagon!
Will I Am. Is that how you do that?
Yeah,
He's a
Will
rap-
I Am. A rapper.
He played a rap version of the Sesame Street song at Obama's Ohio State rally yesterday.
You jackwagon!
Hugo Chavez, he said of his reelection, truthfully, this has been the perfect battle, a democratic battle. Venezuela will continue along the lines of democratic and Bolivarian socialism of the 21st century. Hugo, you are a jackwagon.
You jackwagon!
And Oracles, the Reds, they're going to finish the job today. The Ben Stein, every soul, he says, deserves a shot at a Cadillac, but not everyone should be guaranteed a Cadillac. That way lie the tumbrils and the guillotine.
You've been awarded Oracle
Reds and
status.
Ben Stein.
Kid Rock defending his support of the Romney-Ryan ticket. He said he's proud we elected our first black president. He said he is sorry Obama didn't do a better job, but facts are facts. And the Sesame Workshop, the nonprofit which produces Sesame Street, has requested that Obama's campaign stop using Big Bird in their attack ads.
Good for them.
I was going to say, and I think they really, really want to get Romney to quit shooting at him, too. You know?
I mean,
it's, although it is comical.
Well, it is funny. I did find out that the PBS CEO, Paula Kerger, she said on Thursday, PBS CEO talks to CNN about the issue. She couldn't believe the iconic children's TV star had gotten this much attention. She says, with the enormous problems facing our country, the fact that we are the focus is just unbelievable to me. She said, what's more troubling is the fact that Big Bird doesn't get money from the government. All of the federal money PBS receives goes to member stations. Kerger also reminded us that the PBS is our biggest nation's classroom, and it prepares kids for school. So she had her say on that.
Well, think about it, though. The publicity that he gave them, that's going to give them a boost. Look at all they're getting. So hopefully then the more public will get out there and support them as well.
That's exactly right. Notes from history. The Bulldog loves history, and I'm a history major from college. Losing his marbles. I love the headline. In April of 1841, Vice President John Tyler was on his knees playing marbles when he was informed that William Henry Harrison, the 9th president, the oldest president ever to take office until, guess who? Ronald Reagan. That's exactly right, until Ronald Reagan had died. And so now he was president of the United States. At that time, marbles was a very, very popular game.
Back when they didn't have TVs or phones or anything.
And we're going
like
to talk to the TV issue here. Stay tuned.
What
television.
a living hell.
That's right. Television was first demonstrated to the general public in 1939 New York World's Fair, but not everyone was turned on. One critic from the New York Times remarked that the television would never actually compete with the radio because people, quote, must sit and keep their eyes glued on a screen. The average American family hasn't the time for that.
Oh, we found the time.
We did.
Just sit and be glued. I'm
going to give you a little quiz. I looked up the statistics on how much TV we watch every day. Is it 1.8, 2.8, or 3.8 hours a day?
I would say 3.8.
Okay.
What was the middle one? I'm going to go with that middle
1.8, 2.8, 3.8.
2.8.
Jakester, what do you think? The 2.8. 2.8 it is.
Really?
Yeah,
right there in the middle.
Jake and I.
I'm telling you, they know because they watch television.
I was going to say, I don't watch that much.
You know
I have
what?
my favorite shows.
I don't either. Unless it I'm pretty much all sports.
Yep.
If it, Sports Center or some game or something like that.
If it's live, if I'm watching live TV, it's sports.
Yeah.
The rest of them, man.
Yeah.
The TiVo
I don't watch
world,
any reality.
I love I can't do reality. I have enough reality. I don't need their version of reality,
TV was great for this country because it made people realize, well, you know what? We need more time to watch TV once it was invented. So then they invented things that would make everything else shorter so that they could have that 2.8 hours a day to watch.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
Church drinkers, I love this one. Apparently more Catholics attended Mass during Prohibition than any time in American history because the production of sacramental wine increased by hundreds of thousands of gallons during that time. I mean, are you kidding me? If you wanted a hit of alcohol and you go to church to get it,
it's smaller than a Dixie cup.
Exactly. I mean,
it's not even a shot glass.
Maybe they broke into the back room.
I was going to say,
started,
it would only make you mad. I mean,
unless you'd grab the chalice and just guzzle it.
That's right. Unless you're guzzling it,
Wow.
I just couldn't believe that one. And one more.
Plus, when Prohibition went away, nobody was hung over on Sunday morning, and they could actually get to church. Get up and go there.
There you go. That's right. 1912. First Lady Helen Herron Taft arranged for the planting of 3,000 Japanese cherry trees in Washington's tidal basin, with the Japanese ambassador, Mrs. Taft, personally planted the first two in March the 12th, 1219.
That is beautiful up there when the
it
cherry
is
trees
incredible.
Cherry
I looked
blossoms.
up a picture of it, and it is absolutely gorgeous. All right, we're going to have a rock song. I think this one's going to be by one of the bands we mentioned, Any Way You Want It, and then we'll have some traffic on our way back. This is ClassX Radio. ClassX Radio. Dan Francis, Dr. Dan setting in for the Bulldog. We're heading into the newsletter with some heavy stuff like the virtue of the day. This was weak. Majesty. I mean, come on, I don't think of that as a virtue. But when they explained it as great or impressive dignity, it made me think of a quote by Immanuel Kant. You know, that great German philosopher? By a lie, a man...
Oh, he's a great philosopher.
Yes,
one of my favorites.
I was going to say, it's probably right up your alley. Yeah. He said, by a lie, a man annihilates his dignity as a person. I think he's probably right. I tell you, I read the joke of the day, but I'm going to read that joke, and then I'm going to show you my joke for the day. I want you all to judge which one's best. And first joke, a drunken guy in Alaska decides to go ice fishing. He starts sawing a hole in the ice, and with a large booming voice says, "You will find no fish there." The drunk looks up, ignores it, continues on. The voice booms again, "You will find no fish under the ice." And the drunk looks up and says, "God, is that you?" And the voice says, "No, I'm the manager of this ice rink." Okay.
Did you say that was weak? Is that what you were talking about?
We'll see what this one is.
I don't know.
Here.
That's pretty
This one is. The local news station was interviewing an 84-year-old lady because she had just gotten married for the 4th time. The interviewer asked her questions about her life, about how it felt to be marrying again at 84, and then about her new husband's occupation. She said he's a funeral director. Interestingly, the newsman thought. Then he asked her if she wouldn't mind telling him a little about her first 3 husbands and what they did for a living. She paused for a few moments, needing time to reflect on all those years, and after a short time, a smile came to her face. She answered proudly, explaining that she first married a banker when he was in his early 20s, then a circus ringmaster when she was in her 40s, later a preacher when he was in her 60s, and now in the 80s a funeral director. The interviewer looked at her quite astonished and asked why she had married 4 men with such diverse careers. She said, "Easy, son, I married 1 for the money, 2 for the show, and 3 to get ready, and 4 to go."
That is really good.
I like that one.
Garrett, when you get a little older, it'll be much funnier.
It'll be much
now?
funnier. That's right.
Yeah, it will be. I promise.
All right.
You want to cover some traffic real quick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Not that there's a whole lot going on, but right now, if you're heading, I don't know what it is. It's not that cold out this morning, but there's a lot of broken down cars out there. So just watch for that. Duck Creek at Ridge, Dana at Victories is broken down there.
You got to put gas in them, folks.
Yeah, and you know what? When it gets cold, you have to warm them up because normally this is something that happens when it starts getting really cold. You find all these cars sitting around.
But yeah, yesterday was colder than this morning.
Yeah, so westbound 275 at Mineola. But so far, we've had 4 cars broken down just, in the past hour or so this morning. So I don't know. Traffic just slowing down your normal spots, but no accidents. So that's good news.
Good news. White House schedules there in your newsletter. Feel free to look at that. It's a little more detailed than
Isn't Obama in Ohio today? One of them?
President arrives in Columbus, Ohio at 4:20 today and then departs at 7:15 and arrives back at the White House at 8:40. Shakespeare of the day. This is a great pickup line, Garrett. You may want to memorize this.
Take notes, Jared.
That's right. How may I ever worship these enough? How may I ever worship
these
enough?
Yeah.
That's as south as I can go.
I'm just
like
kind of
that.
shocked. I'm kind of just sitting here wondering. Yeah. Okay.
I think of one thing when I hear that.
I knew you would, and I laid it right out there for you.
And he
didn't
in respect of you, just
That's right.
he didn't blurt it out either.
I could have blurted it. I could have blurted boobs out, but I didn't.
But I'm glad.
But I held back. I
But he did
restrained
not.
it.
You
I
were
could have
saying-
said boobs. I didn't do it.
I think breast is the proper word. I'm not
Right.
allowed to
breasts.
say. Are
Sorry.
we allowed to even?
Let's be
There you
politically
go.
correct.
That's
Yeah.
right. And we're into political correct on this show.
Dan, I can't believe you took it there, but that's okay.
I had to. It was on behalf of the Bulldog. I needed to kind
you
of
had
take
to
it
keep
to the
it.
edge.
Yeah, you had to
Hey,
keep it there.
you're
I
telling that
get
joke about the weddings. What do you do weddings?
Oh, yes, I do many weddings.
What's
I'm doing
the-
one Saturday night.
Do you really? Well, me and Jake might come crash it.
Oh, the wedding crashers. There's another Halloween
crash,
costume.
Reception. What's the oldest person you've married?
That's
Wait a minute. How old's
fairly
your wife?
easy. No, I married a couple about 4 years ago, and they were both upper 70s.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Listen again.
It was a renewal of dreams.
So it was a renewal of their wedding vows?
No, they were getting
Died
married
on
for the
their
first time.
honeymoon.
Really?
One had been widowed, and the other one was a selective widowing. She got a divorce.
You know, my ex-husband, his grandma actually did get remarried in her 70s. So it was pretty interesting. So she's 96 now. But
both really classy folks, and
that's interesting.
Good
for them.
Nice little ceremony. Had their grandkids in it. I mean, it was nice. All right, oxymoron of the day: rap music. Did you know that rap music came from Africa to the Caribbean islands, and then guess what? To America.
Well, why is that an oxymoron?
I don't really know that either. I thought of the same thing.
Somebody's saying that rap isn't music. I'm a hip hop fan, Dan, as I know you are. You're a big fan of Snoop Dogg and and the likes.
I really do. I like all ranges. I'm stone serious. When I was in Nashville for 12 years, I like some country music. Now I don't like the wing wang, but I like some of the country rock music. And,
I like the newer. I mean,
I do.
Earlier he said something about liking the Doobies.
Right now,
liking the
right.
Doobies, yeah.
There's some things better for off mic, than.
Actually, it was off mic, but we just repeated that you said you liked the Doobies.
It was just
we were talking about music, but
breasts analogy. That's right. Oh, yeah, we do. We are on video too, aren't we?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, here we go again. All right, we got some music.
Some doobies.
We have some Doobie Brothers coming up.
We got some doobies.
Let's go. ClassX Radio.
Hey, Bulldog. Hey, Bulldog.
ClassX Radio, Dr. Dan, pastor at Latonia Baptist Church, stayintheroom.com, filling in for the Bulldog. We have made our way through the newsletter news of the day in deference to our comrade who's recalibrating. There's signers of the Declaration of Independence. If he was here, he would want me to read this. Few men contributed more to the U.S. independence than John Adams, the Atlas of American independence, at least from the eyes of fellow signer Richard Stockton. A giant among the founding fathers, Adams was one of the coteries of leaders. That's a small group of people who generated the American Revolution, for which this prolific writing provided many of the politico-philosophical foundations. Not only did he draft the Declaration, but he also steered it through the Continental Congress. The subsequent career of Adams, a diplomat, first vice president, overshadows those of all the other signers except Jefferson. Adams was also the ancestor of a distinguished family. His son, John Quincy, gained renown as a diplomat, congressman, secretary of state, and yes, later president. Adams graduated from Harvard in 1755 and thought about entering the ministry but decided to follow law. Adams died at the age of 90, just hours before the death of Jefferson on July the 4th, 1826, the 50th anniversary, the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. Did you know that Adams graduated from Harvard? I noticed that, but had thought about going into the ministry. Harvard was started as a divinity school. I don't know if you're aware of that. It was. And oftentimes those roots are given as evidence. Useless fact of the day. I don't even want to read all of this, but it is useless fact. What I thought was, it's why do airplanes leave white cloud-like trails behind it? Well, there's a conspiracy theory that those are chemtrail theory, and that is that those trails are left by aircraft are actually chemical, biological agents deliberately sprayed at high altitudes for an undisclosed purpose to the general public. Paranoid? Is that what I would call
That's what I would call that, yeah.
I would call that paranoid, since I live close to the airport particularly. But that's the news of the day. How about some culture, pop culture? I tell you, this Stevie Nicks and Mariah Carey thing, I'm not even sure it's worthy of us talking about it. But
Nicki Minaj,
Nicki Minaj, all that stuff. Sarah Palin, she's writing a new fitness book. It will focus on health and self-discipline. Investment banker, I tell you, some people just have too much money.
Yeah.
His family will auction off a Claude Monet painting of a water lily pond for $30 to $50 million.
What are they going to do with the money? They donating it to charity, or they need to pay their bills?
I'm sure. I hope whatever it is, it goes to a good use. And Kristen Stewart, who's been in the news quite a bit, Kristen Stewart says, I am a miserable blankety blank. I'm not sure if I'm most happy when I'm comfortable and content or when I'm pushing myself to the limits. What would you tell Kristen if you were her counselor, Garrett?
Kristen Stewart?
Stewart, on her unhappiness. Should she just keep pushing ahead and getting things done, or should she lay back?
Lay back.
Lay back.
Lay back.
Somehow knew that.
Somehow I knew that was
Denise,
coming.
how about you?
Well, I
Just
guess it
quit
depends
cheating on her husband. I mean, for God's sake, that is the one thing that makes me so mad. I hate infidelity.
Yep.
I hate unfaithful.
Yep.
It's not loyal.
Right.
I'm loyal to a fault, it's just that makes I have no respect for people that do that.
That's right. How important is loyalty? I mean, it's all you have. It's all you have at the end of the day is matching your words and your actions. Religious affiliation report. I read this on a couple different sources. News report shows that 1/5 of U.S. adults have no religious preference. 1/3 of U.S. adults under 30 also have no religious preference. Both my kids grew up in church, but they don't like the church thing as much as just spiritual. But obviously, I'm a church guy. Lots of there's some bad things that happen in churches, but for the most part, local church folks are salt of the earth people.
Do you think that some kids go through a phase? I don't know, Garrett and Jake. I don't know. Seems like my boys. I mean, they raised them in a Catholic church, went to church every weekend, grew up in a Catholic school. But right now in college, it's like they're into they want to believe in the dinosaurs and just evolution, and they don't want to go there. So do you think that's something to do with age? Maybe that some of the younger people are that way, or a certain age group. Did you find that with your kids at all?
Yes, it's age group. I mean, my kids both have been bombarded with intellectualism. The whole my son's read a couple books by atheists, and I told him, I said, let me know when you read one, because I'd like to have you read one to balance it out.
Yeah.
And he and I have had a great conversations about those. C.S. Lewis is my favorite kind of defender of the faith, mere Christianity, and just a simple approach to faith. And I love it. But yeah, I think it has to do with the independence.
You get a big crowd down there at Latonia Baptist.
It's an interesting church. Used to run 500-600, and then downsized. I sometimes call them sanctified downsizings when things are not right, and they just kind of. So when I came, I was just going to help them out. They had about 100 folks, but we see twice that many now, and we also have an interesting a television ministry. It's twice a week. The show, the worship service is presented on the public service.
Oh, so you're on TV
So TV twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. At 7 o'clock.
What kind of crowd do you get? Is it more of an older crowd, younger crowd?
It's pretty mixed.
Good talent down there.
It's pretty mixed. Since my wife and I have been there, we've started a young adult class, and we've got like 8 or 10 couples. Matter of fact, Chuck Holbrook is in that with Rebecca, and it's a bunch of young couples and just kind of dealing with stuff that they deal with. My wife and I have done marriage enrichment stuff for years. And so we decided that's the area of the church that needed to grow. So it is. That area is growing. And
what about your singles section? Is there a singles crowd? Maybe a class I can attend?
I could find a couple places for you. Matter of fact, some of the single people that were looking.
Couple places in hell, huh? The depths of hell.
Yeah.
Come to our class even because they're in that age group. If you're in the 25 to 35
I'm looking for a 25 to 35 year old.
Well, there's a couple.
We could probably even post that on Facebook. I mean, we can get you a date
put
somewhere.
The bat signal out there
if you put me on it, I know how to find women. I quote some Shakespeare to
Wait,
them.
what did he just say?
He knows how to find women.
He knows how to find women.
Knows how to pull some wool.
Is that wife up listening? Wait, there's something.
I'm sure
the way
she
this is being taken, on the other end of the.
I told her I would get no respect for anything I said today, so
you'll vouch for me if I. If one of your parishioners,
Oh,
is
yeah.
that what they're called?
Yes.
Parishioners?
Mhm.
See?
Do you
How about
go to
something?
church, Garrett? I mean, do you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, see, what about you, Jake? Where
I don't go. No, I don't attend regularly.
I'm not against it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
As far as faith goes, I don't know what to think. I
Right.
want to believe.
Sure.
I absolutely want to believe. But right now, it's just not part of my life.
Well, I became a follower of Christ when I was 18, and I was wilder than I was a crazy guy and fought, loved chicks. I mean, I was just, the whole world was there, and I didn't have any peace. So I found peace in this, and it was life-changing for me. I mean, I had a Damascus Road experience on the way to here, and we won't talk about all that this morning, but on the way to here, a rock and roll group. Matter of fact, we might want to check in. Three Dog Night. I was on
Really?
the way to hear Three Dog Night in Louisville. I've always been a rock and roller, and I think I told you all that I, as a 14-year-old, went to hear the Beatles. 14 years old, saw the Beatles live.
So was there like one experience that really?
Oh yeah,
the Three
It
Dog
was
Night? Something with that changed?
On the way there, my car broke down, and I had just a profound moment with God. And where I hate to tell this just to anybody out there listening without hearing it in context, but I heard God speak to me and just spoke to me about, I love you this much, because I was going down Expressway about 75, 80, and I just felt this need to get off, and I didn't. My front right tire took off on my car. And,
After you pulled off the road?
After I pulled off on the road. And there were, 4 other couples with us in 2 different cars, so I have witnessed.
What do
to
you
it.
say to you? Get new tires, Dan.
No, he said, I love you this much, and that was it. I mean, I don't know if it was audible to anybody else. I just know it was audible to me. And out of that, I began my search process. And from that, it's been a profound...
My grandfather had something similar.
Did
He was in an accident. I mean, years and years ago, it was a Mustang on US 50 in Milford, just heading out that direction. But the car was totaled. It was a Mustang. You couldn't even, pictures of it, you couldn't... He wasn't injured at all. And everybody came on the scene. What happened? He said, somebody lifted me out of my car. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, he became a minister, and just, it was very interesting.
Well, I hate to give my God story as an entree to my faith because, nobody has the same experience. I mean, that's like saying I came to know the Lord on the 18th hole at the golf course, and you need to get over there and see if you can find the Lord over there, and that's not the way it was for me at all. I just had a profound need, a sense of need for peace, and I found it in that, and it's been unbelievable since then. Related to cars pulling off the exits and having tires fall off, is there some traffic news we need to know about?
Well, it's going to be that time of day. I mean, things are slowing down. There is one accident in Milford on 28 at McPicken.
Get it together, Milford.
Yeah, really. Well, you know what? Milford isn't that bad. At least, Colerain's the one better than Colerain. Colerain still is number 1 in accidents, but right now you're looking at about 20 minutes northbound 71, 75. He's not here to play your games with you, Garrett. So right now you're looking at 20 minutes
Plans
from
this
Buttermilk
weekend,
to the
Dan?
bridge, and then southbound 75. You're kind of bunching up right there
I
around
think so,
Ronald
yeah.
Reagan.
In some cases, I would.
And both of them are being really good out there right now. So we'll just let it go back to Dan and Garrett.
Oh, that was great.
No, it
I
was.
appreciate
You're just
that.
so
It was a
welcome.
great
You are, yeah, you're
report.
welcome.
It was awesome.
This is ClassX Radio. I think we have some music. Albatross? Is that what's
Fleet
coming up?
Wood Mac.
All right.
Hey, Bulldog.
Dr. Dan Francis, StayInTheRoom.com, filling in for Eric Deters, who's getting recalibrated. We had all kinds of deep talk leading into this. But we'll go back to some culture news here. Reggie Bush, football player, after announcing he and his girlfriend are expecting their first child, said, I'm hoping for a boy, because if it's a girl, I'm going straight to the gun shop to buy some guns. Reggie, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. Rolling Stone, Jimmy Page, says he doesn't foresee another Led Zeppelin tour, saying if they were going to do more shows, we'd already be talking about them. I understand that they're actually going to come out and play at the Bulldogs Halloween party. Actually, there's a cover band doing that. But if you haven't stepped into being a part of that, go online and sign up for the fun.
They got their invite, huh?
That's right. They got their invite. I don't know that we want to do anything more with Hulk Hogan. We've done the fact that his explicit tape has leaked. Anybody in here watched it or anything?
Yeah, I saw it the other day.
You did?
What you're thinking?
Pretty disgusting, man, because one, they're old.
Oh, my gosh.
And two, he's like talking about how he's like out of breath and stuff. It's weird as that. Like he says, "Oh, I'm out of breath. Oh, I'm a fat pig," and then they do it, and then he thanks her and walks out of the room. It's just creepy weirdo.
Okay, thank you. TMI. If you want to watch it, go check it out. Huh?
There you go.
Just giving you the details, Denise. I know you asked off air, and that's why we brought it up. So
I was asking who would want to watch Hulk Hogan.
Right. Who would want
who
to
would
watch?
Even wanna?
I think you've seen it. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, and that's what I just said. Why would I even want to watch?
Watch.
Yeah.
Local news.
So you looked it up.
Local news. Romney's son to watch the debate in Oxford. Josh Romney will attend the viewing party by the College Republicans at Miami University at Thursday date. Erlanger Mayor Tom Roosh said somebody needs to file a lawsuit. I wonder if
the dog, maybe the dog could get in there. Call him
I
up.
saw that. I thought that's throwing.
Is this an advertisement?
I feel like I need to give out the dog's cell phone number on
That's
everybody's.
like throwing a bone to a dog. Isn't
Probably got
it?
spa rocks on his back right now.
He might not appreciate that.
Over the Kenton County 911 center debacle, he said that there are a number of attorneys that do not believe the county's decision to add $85 to the property tax bills of citizens to cover the 9/11 center costs. And obviously, that's where I live, so I know about that. Elmwood Place residents get zero help from council. Residents who complain about the traffic cameras around the city at the council meeting last night received the following message. The cameras have slowed people down, and a third camera will be installed within a few weeks.
Well, if you know that you don't even have to
In
worry
your
about
face.
a cop now, that they're just sitting out there with, that you can't even get past a camera. So, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Speaking of conspiracy, there it comes again. Reading Fifth Third Bank was robbed yesterday about 12:30 on his lunch break, I guess. West Benson Avenue, the man implied that he had a weapon but left with unknown amounts of money, and he is still at large. The only thing I got to say is Garrett came in here with a bag of money this morning. I don't know if the two are associated.
At least he shared.
He did share.
Come on, Dan. You're supposed to keep that quiet.
All right, Hammersville.
Knock off a U.S. Bank in Reading.
That's right. Hammersville mayor arrested for the second time in 2 weeks. Come on.
Oh, they're hillbillies out there, aren't they, Dan? I mean,
Ohio Mayor Wendell Staggs, 45, was arrested for domestic violence after he tried to choke. Get this.
His father-in-law or something?
Father?
His own father?
78-year-old father.
I mean, I could see that you're doing that to your father-in-law, but your own dad?
Father, yeah, throwing him into the ground, shoving him against the wall. I've got to tell you, if you're beating up on your father, you got a problem.
Yeah, you got anger issues.
Beating up on anybody.
Come Dan, on. You be at the Latonia Baptist Church. On what road is that again, Dan?
That is Church Street.
Hard to stay in your room. Yeah, Church Street.
And I'll tell you about stayintheroom.com. I have this drawing, that I use for all my when I talk to folks about stay in the room, and you get fearful, you get hurt, you get vengeance, you get blame, but we bring you to the table of reconciliation. I would say this fellow has some vengeance and anger, and he needs some.
We need to talk about that.
Okay. He needs a little assistance.
He needs a little assistance, and I call it accountability.
Yeah.
I base Stay in the Room on 5. That's an acrostic, ABCD, and accountability or authenticity. Stepping up, being authentic, boundaries, placing appropriate boundaries in your life, compassion. Discernment, being willing to make the right decisions, and then
going so fast,
enthusiasm. Authenticity.
No, you're good.
Boundaries, compassion, discernment, and enthusiasm. And those are the things through the years, and I've sat in front of a few people through the years, if they're having some kind of relational difficulty, I guarantee you that one of those issues will be the issue.
What do you do, Dan? Dan, when everybody gets angry, everybody gets mad. What do you do do you read the Bible? What do you do to get back? I mean,
well,
to get back
get
at someone
vengeance.
or to get
Right.
well.
if you're
he
mad,
does
if you're
it.
mad about anything.
You don't.
Beats them up.
I beat him up. I'm a karate guy. No,
I like that.
no. I'm
You
sure.
work it out, don't you?
I do. For a long time, I'm a big athlete guy. I mean, I work out a lot, and so I try to, just blow the steam off a lot of times.
Do you ignore it, or
work
No,
it out.
no, oh
You
no, I'm
work
not.
it out.
I do not ignore it. I'm a confrontational guy. I mean,
Right.
if I have, Matthew 18:15 says, if you have aught against your brother, or aught against your sister, you got a problem with them.
You work it
go
out.
to them and you work it out. You don't go. I say I'm gonna go to talk to Denise and Garrett. And,
I talk behind their back. I
get them to
backstab
agree
them.
with me. What you do is you get them to agree with you, and then you really think you're right. And so what you want to be is right and not what I call redemptive. And redemptive means you want to make it right between the two of you,
Right.
as opposed to right where I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
And
No,
so,
I mean, everybody has
Everybody
to feel
has-
comfortable, but
Sure.
yeah, I mean, to carry that around, I wanted to talk to you about it
Yeah.
because it's like, so many people deal with those kind
Oh.
of issues, and people just want to ignore it and walk away
Right.
and turn your back on somebody in your life or a sister or a brother. That happens a lot
A
in
lot.
families.
There's a
And-
good anger and there's a bad anger.
Right.
And the good anger is something that allows you to say and to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, enough. I have to do something about this. It's wrong, and I'm going to do something about it. Wrong kind of anger is when you seek vengeance or
Right.
out of your hurt or your fear, you seek vengeance on somebody.
Well, and you see a lot of that. If you read Facebook, I mean, I don't know how much you really follow any of that, but I mean, and it's kind of like even dealing with it, people put everything out there, and it's like you really shouldn't. You need to deal with it one-on-one, but
Sure
you
you do.
need to deal with those issues and not put somebody out of your life, a sister or brother or father. I mean, a lot of parents. So that's
For me, I'm a confrontational guy. I go to them. I usually pray, say, okay, what do I want to do with these folks? And then I go to them, and if they won't listen, then I get a mediator in the room. And we
run
work
them
through
down
it.
with your F-250 out in the
That's
parking
right.
lot.
That's where we get that helicopter out of the garage and do a little
I got to get
nose
that.
Scare
thing
tactics?
running. I got to get that.
We got to
thing
get
running.
that thing out of there.
yeah. I'm thinking by next week.
I would think.
I think it would be a good present to have the helicopter ready when the Bulldog gets back.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good present
Yeah, that's
for the
true.
Bulldog. All right, we're going to have some rock and roll music. I believe it's Tunnel of Love. And then we'll come back for a traffic report. This is ClassX Radio. Liberty Sunday in many churches across America. Liberty Sunday. I think 1,500 other preachers. And I'll give you a quick overview of an article on that. Baptist preacher Mark Harris stood before his flock in North Carolina, joined hundreds of other religious leaders in deliberately breaking the law in an election year campaign that tests the role of church in politics. By publicly backing candidates for political office from the pulpit, Harris and nearly 1,500 other preachers at services across the United States were flouting a law that they see as an inclusion on their freedom of speech. Under the U.S. tax code, nonprofit organizations such as churches may express views on any issue, but they jeopardize their favorable tax-exempt status if they speak for or against any political candidate. So the legal reason is that, but there's a moral/theological reason for me, and that is I just don't think that I need to be influencing my congregation in a political way. Now, I do speak to issues, but my point would be, two people I mainly read on this issue is Steve Mansfield and Jim Denson. Both of those guys are former pastors who write and that kind of thing now. But Steve Mansfield wrote an article, and I'm going to read you excerpts from it, and it really explains a lot about what I feel, why a candidate's religion matters, because it's really been off the screen this year when I thought it was going to be much more prominent. Let me just read some excerpts. My old South grandmother used to tell me that I should never speak of religion and politics in polite company. She was right. Nothing divides like these two topics. If we wish to preserve harmony with our acquaintances, we should find other subjects for discussion. Until, that is, one of the acquaintances asks me to entrust him with the power of a public office. Then, though I should remain polite, as Grandma would have insisted, I am not fulfilling the duty of citizenship unless I insist on knowing everything about this acquaintance that might come to bear upon their conduct in office. His religion, among other features of his life, moves them from the private realm into the realm of of respectful public scrutiny. So why is the religion of a candidate important? Because if they are sincere about their religion, it shapes them politically. It is the lens through which they see the world, because law and public policy are, in fact, rooted in concepts of fair and good and right and just, and they're a product of religion as any other influence, because if my vote puts civil authority under the influence of a politician's religion merely by helping to place the man in his position. So religion matters, and it matters in politics. To say so is not to require an unconstitutional religious test or to feel bigotry or to force all religion into political correctness. But it is simply to insist upon knowing before election day what factors will be influenced while a man or woman sits in office. Revere Ronald Reagan as we might, and this particular writer says I do, we would be justified in wishing we had known more of his religious views before he entered the Oval Office. We would also be justified in wishing we knew what was influencing him religiously while he sat in the office, particularly when he was learning about Armageddon from his informal nighttime reading and then making pronouncements about its meaning for his presidency. Similar things could be said of the religious views of Jimmy Carter, George W. Bush, or even Dwight Eisenhower. Religion shaped each of them to some degree as public men. So did we have an opportunity to know the specifics of the shaping them before they entered the office? And this brings us to the 2012 presidential race. Though we have two men running for office who are profoundly fashioned by their faith, we have yet to hear definitively from them about how religion informs their politics. Numerous Mormons spoke in support of Mr. Romney at the Republican National Convention in Tampa, but the candidate himself said nothing of consequence about his Mormonism in his acceptance speech. Yet the Sunday after the convention, he sat in a Mormon gathering and heard himself proclaimed as an ambassador of Mormonism. The speaker was J.W. Marriott of hotel chain Marriott's, and the sentiments were echoed around the country. Perhaps it is true. Perhaps there is even more in Mormonism that might make a man a sterling president. Frankly, I believe there is, but may we not hear of this fully from the candidate himself. If another candidate was proclaimed an ambassador of the Roman Catholic Church or of the South or the Ivy League education, wouldn't we insist upon knowing exactly what this meant before we sent them to office? And the same is true for Mr. Obama. We should ask for clarity about his religious views as well. He reads the Bible almost daily, has a team of very respected spiritual advisors, has been profoundly influenced by his chaplain at Camp David's Evergreen Chapel, and has given testimony of his faith as fully as any president in recent memory. He has also made it clear that his policies grow from his faith. He supports same-sex marriage because he is influenced by the Sermon on the Mount. He champions policies for the underprivileged because of the ethics of Christ that Jesus Christ taught. He even reaches to the Muslim world, not just out of geopolitical necessity, but because of a common religious heritage. We might welcome it all, but shouldn't we know more? Must his blend of traditional Christianity and progressive social values remain a mystery? So finally, it's easy to understand why candidates shy away from the political implications of their religious lives. It means defining themselves in a way that distinguishes them from millions who believe differently, and it potentially puts another club in the hands of their opponents. So be it. We live in a democracy. Presidents are not allowed undisclosed loyalties. In other words, to foreign governments, to political movements, and to private clubs, and yes, to religions. It's time for the media and the voters to ask some questions about their faith. 2 months, now a month, before a religion of some kind begins whispering in an ear of a man of some party as he decides matters of national consequence. My point there is, it's all right to talk about religion. It's all right to talk about your lack of or your belief in. And so, for me at least, that's one of the areas that I want us to be able to spend some time on. So, after the break, we'll kind of open that up and see how we respond. And obviously, this is my area of expertise. I could talk to you about both of these men's faith pretty strongly. I have about a 50-page paper that Jim Dennison wrote on both of their faith experiences, and we can reference that as well. So go to traffic to find out how we're doing out there.
Well, you know what? We had an earlier accident that was reported, and we just got some details on that, and that was in Milford on 28 at McPicken, and that was actually a school bus, and there were 7 kids on the bus. Now, no injuries, so that's at least good news, but that was right at the intersection there. Now, they've cleared that out of the way, but it was a school bus that hit another car. Like I said, 7 students on that. Nobody was injured, so that's at least good news. There is a car fire on the ramp from northbound 7175 to eastbound 275. I'm looking for it on the cameras, really not seeing it. You are slow on 7175 all the way from Buttermilk into downtown. It's about 25 minutes, pretty normal there. The rest of the interstate's slowing down in all the typical spots, but I just wanted you to make sure you were aware of those couple of problems. Also an accident at Campbell and Industrial.
Thank you, Denise. We've now got Tunnel of Love, The Boss.
Well, we did that one. We forgot to queue up a new song because we just did the Tunnel of Love. Well, I picked one, Dan, because it reminds me of you. I think this song should be our feel-good song of the day.
All right.
If you'll allow it. So, and we'll hit the break. Class X Radio.
Go for it.
Hey, Bulldog.
Class X Radio, this is Dr. Dan Francis. StayInTheRoom.com. Pastor at Latonia Baptist Church. 859-816-1354 if you want to text us a good word. The Jakester here has just come up with a statistic that I think I heard earlier in the season about our Reds, and that is they've never lost 3 in a row all year. Wow, that's pretty nice and gives you great hope, although I have great hope. Let's talk a little sports. Kevin Falk retires. The Patriots player retired at 13 years in the NFL, and Falk won 3 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots. Kobe Bryant all but said when his current contract expires in 2 years, he will retire. He said 3 more years seems like a really long time to stay at a high level of training and preparation and health. Jets coach Rex Ryan says no to Tebow. When asked if Mark Sanchez would remain the team's starter, Ryan said, yeah, no question. And then Dwight Howard. Can you believe basketball is really here, Garrett? I mean,
already, yep.
Goodness. Are you a big pro sports?
I'm a bit like NFL's my, football. I'm NFL over college, but in basketball, I'm college over NBA. Yeah,
not even close for me either.
Yeah, I'm a huge UC guy.
Oh, yeah, and I like UC. I really do. I'm one of those oddities. I can even cheer for Louisville, except the times they're playing Kentucky. I love the basketball in this area. I mean,
yeah, great.
You find any tri-state area that has basketball like Xavier and UC and Kentucky, IU. I mean, you got some fine.
Dayton. Dayton's got a good program.
Dayton has really surprised some people.
Yeah, I'd root for Kentucky over Ohio State. Can't stand Ohio State and
Why
their
is
fans
that?
around here.
Something out there. It was like I lived in Nashville. The Vanderbilt fans wore me out because I was a Kentucky fan.
Yeah,
much more so than the Tennessee folks, because I think Tennessee had won enough, with their football program and that kind of thing, that they didn't walk around with a kind of a chip on their shoulder. But
right.
The Vanderbilt folks, I mean, I think of the 12 years I was there, they beat Kentucky once, maybe twice, and you would have thought that Kentucky never won a game. Yeah, because they just wore me out.
Act like you've been there, Vanderbilt.
There you go.
Which I guess they haven't. So,
and of course, UK's beat Ohio State the last 2 times, haven't they?
Yeah, yep. UC's had some trouble with both of them the last meetings they've had. They played Kentucky, I think it was 05, in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Right. Played Ohio State, obviously, last year in the Sweet 16 and lost.
Right.
But
how about the 2 guards that the Williams brothers out of Texas that UK got to sign for next year?
Yeah. Is it the Williams? No, it's not
Williams. Isn't it the Williams?
Yeah, now I'm blanking on their names.
Anyway, all I know is
the
that
twins. Yeah,
the twin. All I know is that the 2
Harrison twins.
The Harrison twins. Isn't that girls? No, I'm just kidding. The statistic I heard on both of those, the number 1 shooting guard and the number 1 point guard in the class of 2013.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got to be kidding.
Like 2 top 10 players from that class. 10. UC got a kid that apparently is a shot-blocking machine. He's 7'1".
Oh.
I'm pretty excited about for this year. We needed a big guy that could step in there for
Is he a high
Nancy
schooler
Gates.
or is he a junior college?
I think he's coming out of high school, I believe.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, actually, I think he's coming from Africa. So,
really?
I don't know how their school system works over there. But, yeah.
Dwight Howard, L.A. player, has been cleared for 5-on-5 scrimmages and has come back from back surgery. He will play tonight against the Trailblazers.
Well, the Lakers are going to be dangerous, though.
They are.
I mean, I don't know that anybody, now that the Heat have won, they're pretty unstoppable, and Oklahoma City's pretty good, but I think with what L.A. did over the summer, getting Steve Nash.
I do too.
And now with Dwight Howard. I think they've overtaken Oklahoma City in the West, and nobody's going to touch Miami. So early on favorites, I would think, is going to be L.A. and Miami to be in the
and I think Steve
finals.
Nash may be the most important player there this year because he is he feeds the ball to the monsters, who can shoot.
Yep.
And when you've got somebody that can play like he plays, feed to those guys.
Only going to help Kobe.
It's only going to help Kobe, and it's going to help Dwight, obviously.
And Pau Gasol, yeah.
That's right. The other interesting thing about the Texans, they lost their top tackler for the season with a torn...
Brian Cushing.
Yep.
If I want to say that he had another injury earlier in his career that set him out, but I think he made the Pro Bowl last year for the first time. I mean, they have a beast defense in Houston.
Is the UC player still playing for them?
Yeah, still starter, Connor Barwin.
And
then they've got another defensive, I guess he's an end, J.J. Watt, they're talking already like Hall of Fame for him. That's the guy that went against the Bengals in the playoffs last year, picked off that pass, defensive lineman, and ran it in for a touchdown.
That's right.
He is a beast.
What, the linebacker, Cushing, is that the guy?
Brian Cushing, yeah.
Didn't he have a steroid issue?
He was suspended. A couple games? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. He was suspended like the first 4 games. It might have been last year.
I think it was last year.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. We are going to traffic to see if we've got anything going on.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was just looking here. There's an accident with injuries, and that is on Springdale at Hamilton, so you need to watch for that. And then an accident on 74 at 275, and you're backed up there to North Bend. So if you're heading inbound into downtown, you're going to run into some problems there. You've got your typical slow traffic around the tri-state there, 75 southbound through Lockland on down to Paddock, and then above that, even from Union Center on down to 275. Still dealing with a car fire on the ramp from 7175 northbound to eastbound 275. So that could slow you down. And you know what? As far as accidents go, wait a minute. Here's one more. Let's see what's popping up. Taylor Mill at Hands. There's an accident there also, and it's reported to be blocking some traffic. So that could slow you down. 7175 looking about 30 minutes into downtown from 275.
Thank you, Denise. Cat Stevens, Peace Train. This is ClassX Radio. ClassX Radio. Dr. Dan Francis setting in for the Bulldog. Phone number 859-816-1354 if you want to text us some ideas or thoughts about the show this morning. Every time I do the show, I will have some segment what I call practical promptings or practical ponderings or learnings, the things that I'm learning. And 2 things struck me. There's a book coming out, The Single Greatest Business Decision of All Time, and what lies in those decisions. And they talk, everything from Henry Ford in 1914 to Apple bringing back Steve Jobs. And the 3 things there that they talk about that are a part of every great business decision, I want you to look at these in light of the Bulldog. Number 1, invest in good employees. Any good employees in the room here today? Well, absolutely.
I would think we are.
All of us are very good employees. Henry Ford doubled his workers' wages. Now, what do you think about that? You think we ought to get that word to the Bulldog?
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
It said Henry Ford doubling his workers' wages represented the first time in history that employees were seen as an investment. The Bulldog knows that we are his investment. Number 2, never let a crisis go to waste. Think about it. The Bulldog loves a crisis, does he not?
Oh, yeah.
Ever seen a crisis that the Bulldog did not want? Apple was in truly dire straits in 1996. A number of poor CEO hires and decisions had made the company a buyout target rather than a market leader, and that led them back to Steve Jobs, and it became the world's most valuable company. And then the third one I thought was interesting in light of today. It said, be okay with counterintuitive strategy. Now, what that means is against the grain. Most everything the Bulldog does is against the grain, but when you think about the Rev and the lawyer in the same room together, that's a counterintuitive strategy, to say the least. The other practical thing, and this is actually going to be a little lesson here that I want each of the folks here to participate in.
Oh, he's making us take a test like
You're
yesterday.
going to take a test.
Yeah.
The Jakesters,
no.
if you want to look at that. We're going to talk about 10 things to stop doing right now. 10 things to stop doing right now. I'm going to talk about them and then let you choose which one that you think you need to stop doing right now. First of all, blaming. Blaming, taking responsibility when things go wrong instead of blaming others isn't masochistic. It's empowering because then you focus on doing things better or smarter the next time. Number 2, impressing. I know you worry with that one, Garrett. You're really always worried about impressing others. Genuine relationships make
Put
you
on a
happy.
show.
Yeah, that's right. Put on the show, baby. Number 3, clinging. Holding on to what you think and need will make you happier.
Are you a stage 5 clinger, Denise?
I don't think so. I mean, if I was to look at this, I know what you're saying. No,
3.4 at most.
You seem like a clinger.
I seem like a clinger. Thank you very much. You know what? I'm looking like I go straight to 10. But
Do you really?
Hey,
Okay.
I got
We'll
a
get
little game we can play with
All
this
right.
list
All
after you go through it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Interrupting is number 4. Number 5 is whining. Number 6 is controlling. Number 7, criticizing. Never happens on this show.
We don't
Preaching,
criticize.
obviously, I take preference to that in that if preaching is just wanging on somebody, criticizing somebody, that's a problem. But preaching, to
Wanging?
me, wanging on somebody is,
I like that word.
is truth.
Wanging.
I'm going to start using wanging.
Let me tell you what, I'm a wordsmith, man. I bring those words out. But if preaching is truth through personality, which I think it is, then obviously I do that on a regular basis. Number 9, dwelling. The past is valuable. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of others. Let it go. And then finally, fearing. We're all afraid of what might happen or what might not happen or what change, all that. But which one of those? So let's go around the room and see which one of them that if you could stop it today, which one would you stop?
For ourselves?
Yes, for yourself.
Well, let's go around and point to everybody and see what everybody say what they think the other person is. That makes sense?
All right, sure.
All right, so Denise, you start. What do you think Dan is on the list?
oh, come on. How could he be really anything? That's not fair.
Preacher?
I mean, well, he is a preacher, but he preaches good things. He preaches what he believes. He preaches, he tries to help people
Suck
do
up.
good with it. No, I'm really trying to.
All right.
point out-
Do me.
Do you? Oh, yeah. Interrupting. Interrupting. That was an easy one.
You just
I
kinda roll
can't
down
say
this
I've
list, huh?
criticizing or anything else. I certainly wouldn't know if you're clingy, so there you go.
I criticize.
Do you?
Do you?
But I'm working on that.
Well,
Because
that's-
I try not to not care. That's my motto.
Yeah.
Don't care too much. Nothing is that important.
Because you criticize if you care too much.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get
Exactly. Yeah.
Related to that, to me, if I had to give mine, would be controlling. I mean, I'm an intense guy. I mean, you all have seen, 25 years of me trying to back off from that. But I'm a pretty intense guy and controlling. I work hard and very intense, so I have to ease back sometimes.
You don't seem like a
Is that
controlling
right?
person. That's good.
nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
I
then.
wouldn't have pinned that on you on
good.
this list.
Good. How about you?
You know what? I mean, if I were going to talk about I would probably be somewhat controlling. I'm the oldest of 5. I just feel like if I take care of it, I know it's done. I don't have to worry about anything. So if I just jump in and do it, and sometimes that kind of leads to other issues. And also, fearing. I'm more of a worrier. I worry about a lot of things, and what if this and what if that, and which leads to, some insecurity about things.
Sure it does.
With work, money, all those kind of things.
You're a
So-
worrywart.
Yeah, I'm a mom.
I was
which
gonna
is
say, the
normal.
next thing
It's
is you're a
just,
mom. That's right.
it is an issue because
Sure.
you realize you got to kind of just back off and
You
let
have to.
things be the way they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my mom. She's always, for the longest time, she was always go, go, go. And she still is. She's constant. She's always has something going on, which is fine. But I told her, it's like, Mom, life's too short. Just have some fun every once in a while. Don't worry about stuff you can't control
Absolutely.
or there's no reason to worry about in the long run.
Jake, how about you? You got one of those in there that you tend to lean toward?
I'd say controlling or criticizing, sort of the same way.
All right.
Yeah.
Zim?
Big
how about
criticizers.
You got one in there that...
What do you got, Zim?
On a daily basis, all of them.
Zim,
Now,
Zim.
there's a humble guy right
Yeah.
there. There's a humble guy. Well, I just think it's good. I read this kind of stuff because I want to work on myself. I want to make me a better person. And I read that and thought, which two or three? The one that I just can't stand is whining. I've given up whining after I turned 40, I think. I just don't want to whine anymore. I just hear it, don't want it, can't do anything about it, move on, do what you can, and then move on.
Yeah.
Seems like the other way around, though, for a lot of people. They get older and they
know.
get more, curmudgeon-y.
Maybe that's why. I just hear it so often that I come home and I say, I'm in a no whine zone. No whining. And of course,
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to perform the ceremony for my daughter's wedding.
There you go.
There you go. I knew where we'd go with that. And just the whole deal of all the details and stuff. And so everybody's kind of up about it.
Oh, that's a stressful time.
But my wife and my daughter, they've handled it really well, and it's been a minimal wine zone at our place. So I'm very, very encouraged. All right, speaking of whining, do we have any traffic whining going on?
Oh, you know what? We do have some traffic issues out there. Don't even know where to start. If you're around Taylor Mill at Hands, you have that accident there. It is blocking the traffic, so just watch for that. It's still cleaning that up. Accident with injuries on Springdale at Hamilton. Another accident, 74 near Montana, and that has you backed up to North Bend, and one on Martin Luther King Drive at Clifton. So a couple of problems there. Also, the traffic lights aren't working at Madison at Woodburn, so make sure you treat that like a four-way stop. Don't want anybody flying through that intersection. The rest of traffic, you've got your slow spots all over the tri-state, so just expect those normal delays.
Thank you, Denise. All right, Garrett, we have some rock and roll.
We do. It's a little more upbeat, but maybe not quite. It's one of my favorites. John Lennon, I think it was his birthday this week. Mm-hmm. Called "Watching the Wheels." Classic tune.
Yep. ClassX Radio. Dr. Dan Francis of StayInTheRoom.com. Pastor of Latonia Baptist Church, setting in for the Bulldog. He is recalibrating. I guess whenever you read the newsletter, and I will tell you that 20-something pages I printed this morning from the Bulldog's newsletter, I mean, it's just stocked full of information. And you always pull up information that relates more to you. But under the health news, a couple items that I found a little bit scary in that the Boston Globe, where my son lives, issued a nationwide recall of every product it makes due to the deadly outbreak of fungal meningitis. The company posted, this is the New England Compounding Center, the company posted a 71-page list of 1,200 recalled drugs and medical products on their website. I mean, that's scary stuff. Particularly related to that is a friend of mine recently had a steroid injection, and Indiana has 12 cases now of meningitis linked to steroid injections. The CDC says there have been no deaths in Indiana, but 11 have died nationwide, and there are currently 119 cases of fungal meningitis linked to the injections in these 10 states. So it's pretty scary stuff.
It is pretty scary. 1,200 different medications.
1,200 different medications. And the Worldwide Depression Report, I'd like to go on record as I slightly disagree with this. It's from the AFP News from France. The World Health Organization says that 350 million people around the world suffer from depression. 50% more women have symptoms of the illness than men. My disagreement with that was I think 50% more women admit that they have the symptoms than the illness of men.
Yeah.
And my experience has been we guys just kind of, grit our teeth and get through it somehow. We don't want to talk about it. One other story, and I talked with studio folks in the break about this. Boston man arrested at LAX with body armor. 28-year-old Yagda Huan Harris was on his way from Japan to Boston when customs agents stopped him and found a smoke grenade, 3 leather-coated billy clubs, a collapsible baton, a full-face respirator, knives, hatchet, body bags, biohazard suit, handcuffs, are you kidding me, leg irons, a device to repel dogs. He was wearing a bulletproof vest and flame retardant pants. Really?
A hatchet.
I mean, what do you think?
Oh my gosh.
How do you think this is going to go through? I mean, even the old system would catch this one.
Man.
One other thought, I have a smartphone. Atlantic City now allows you to gamble on your smartphones. Gambling will be allowed on iPads, smartphones, mobile devices issued by the casinos in the city. Gamblers will have a $2,500 per day mobile limit and will only be allowed to gamble on casino property. So that limit take care of you, Garrett? $2,500 a day, you think that'd be a good limit for you?
No, I'm going to have to stick to the tables.
Okay.
The hard
I was going to
stuff.
say, would you even bet that kind of money?
I hope not. But being, how lazy are you? You've got your smartphone. You have to be on the surrounding
Right,
area.
you're in the casino anyway.
So why would you want to do that?
I don't know. Maybe you like the virtual games, and I don't know.
The
I think at a
virtual
casino,
experience.
there's plenty of
Maybe it's
games.
when they're
that
not
go.
actually in the casino. Maybe just in the lobby or doing something else, sitting at the table eating,
Right.
and they can't stop. So I don't
Or
know.
if there's like a hotel attached, you might be able to take it up to your room.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not that I would do that. I mean,
Right.
you're pretty much an addicted gambler at that
If
point.
you're at that point, yeah.
yeah.
One of the things from the debate
A
last
lazy
week.
ass will walk downstairs
That's right.
and put your coins in the actual slot
Come on, get on the floor of the action, right?
down there in the pit.
That's where you'd think you'd want to be. I mean, if you were going to blow that kind of money, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like you'd want to do it on your phone. Then you'd get mad, throw your phone, and they'd come looking for you.
Yep, and they could find you because there's a chip in there.
Did you? Can you smoke in a Vegas casino?
And some you can, but
Some
they
you
have such a
can.
good ventilation system.
Ventilation.
That you don't smell it. It's
Really?
really weird because I was in Vegas about a year ago, maybe, and you walk in and you sit at the table and you see these people smoking, but you don't smell it at all.
Wow.
And so it's such a good ventilation system.
And they don't have those fake cigarettes. They were real.
Yeah, they're real.
They're the real deal.
Real.
Real
Guys smoking
smokes.
cigars all over the place.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Well, they have a
And some you just can't at all. Some you not allowed to. Some of the
Yeah,
casinos?
I would think some you're not allowed
Some
to,
not
but
allowed to.
I do remember seeing people smoking, but not smelling
Yeah.
it. But then I remember being in some casinos where they're smoking and you do smell it. So
Because in
Not all, but
Indiana,
the
you're
nice
allowed.
ones you don't smell it. but-
Indiana, you're allowed. Not that I know, but because I have friends that have told me.
I've seen you there, Dan. After you get the free
got- I've
room
got-
every couple of weeks.
I've got a story about that. Somebody was pastor of a church in Winchester, Kentucky at one point, and the rumor got out that I was gambling in the Bahamas. And the interesting thing is I had been to the Bahamas because my wife and I went for our honeymoon there, and we had gone back for our 10-year anniversary. And they didn't catch me, but they did catch my predecessor who was there, and they had him on film, and it was a big brouhaha.
Who was this that caught him?
Who cares? I mean, honestly, it's his time.
The
It's his-
church thing?
Yeah, somebody did, and then reported him. We don't have any institutional guidelines over our pastors. I mean, every one of our churches are independent. I mean, in other words, if our church voted tomorrow, Baptist churches in general vote tomorrow, 51% to 49% to become a Catholic church, they'd become a Catholic church.
Right.
Whereas a Catholic church, if you voted 51 to 49 to become a Baptist church, they'd laugh at you.
Yeah, well,
Because
they
they owned by the diocese. It's a different church structure for it.
Right.
And I like the independent nature of it. It's a little bit scary sometimes.
So some backstabber in the
That's
church had to go after the preacher.
And I simply told him, listen, it wasn't me, and I didn't tell him anything else because I didn't think it really was any of their business.
Yeah,
right.
it's not.
Well, so you're Baptist.
It's off
I am.
school grounds.
Because I was Baptist and I converted Catholic. Now I'm kind of.
Was that
just-
a family decision? Did you marry a Catholic?
I did, and then I was raising the kids and sending them to a Catholic
Right.
school, so I felt like I needed
matters.
to. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, if I'm going to raise them Catholic, I needed to understand what it meant. And for a long time, I was a really good Catholic. I'll tell you what, it's. I mean, you can drink if you're Catholic, so it's kind of it's a little different. But
Well, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but there are a lot of Baptists who drink
There
too.
are.
I mean,
Yeah, they
I've heard Baptists get hammered.
It's a temperance issue. It's not you can't get from the Bible that you should never take a drink.
Yeah, but we draw the line at
But
bingo.
we draw the line at bingo. That's right. There you go.
that's how
Draw
the
that
Catholic schools
line.
make that money, that bingo stuff.
You got that right.
Bingo lingo.
Yeah.
Bingo mingo. You got it. All right. How about the traffic? How are we doing on traffic?
I'm kind of just rolling around looking at the cameras, just basically driving around on the map. And, oh, goodness, here we are. I'm looking at southbound 71. That traffic's heavy, really heavy, both directions, right around Montgomery Road. That's generally if you're heading southbound from 275 all the way down, generally to the Kenwood Cut. And then northbound, it just looks really heavy right there, heading on up towards Pfeiffer. Also, northbound 71, 75, still looking at 20 minutes from Buttermilk to the bridge. 74 looking a little bit better. You're slow there from right around North Bend. There was an earlier accident, so that's kind of cleared out of the way. And then Loveland, Madeira on over to 71. You're slow there as well in that westbound direction on 275.
All right. Thank you, Denise. Some rock and roll music. How about it for Class X Radio?
ClassX.
Class X Radio. Dr. Dan Francis filling in for the Bulldog. And I'm trying to do some cleanup work this morning. Yesterday I listened to the program and there were really some abuse going on.
Just a little bit.
The
Talking to you, Dinkle.
Yeah. There was some
Wait a
abuse
minute.
by...
Give him a jackwagon.
You jackwagon?
There you go. Sorry, interrupted.
I checked. Tom
Look at the
Dinkel,
list, Denise. Interruption.
I talked. I listened yesterday, and I kept wondering, with my stay in the room feelings about wanting to keep this crew together after the abuse that they received. So I thought we would give Tom Dinkel the jackwagon of the day.
You jackwagon?
Tom, now, if you don't know, played for the Bengals between 1978 and 1985. And
Old guy, real
guy,
old.
yeah.
Was
Right,
it
it's
Collinsworth? Was that when Collinsworth was
50s
on?
I believe
by
it
now.
was.
Jeez.
And I thought it was interesting when I read up on Tom that he was a captain and that when he was playing in the Super Bowl, he bumped into Diana Ross, and it was unforgettable. And what I'd like to tell him is that, hey, you just bumped into Denise, and she didn't like what you said yesterday.
Oh, no, I'll take it
And
down.
actually, the report goes on to explain he was literally knocked out in the game. Knocked out, and says he has very little memory of the game.
Huh.
So, Tom, if you're listening, in all my kindness and love as a pastor and friend, you are really a jackwagon.
Knocked him clean
He
out of the
hasn't seen
game,
the guns on me yet either.
Oh, he hadn't
I'm
seen
gonna
the
run
guns
into
on
him
you.
yet. Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm non-controversial here. He's probably going to be waiting outside the door.
Kick his ass.
That's right.
There you
go. Any thoughts about this whole baseball thing? Or we need to make this thing happen here today, Garrett. What are you going to say to Mr. Latos?
Boy, you just hope he can go out there.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, is it been announced as of last night?
in the
They
paper.
haven't said.
It's in the
Okay, so
paper.
they did say Latos is going tonight. You just hope he can pitch like he has been pitching, but you'd hate to see it go to a Game 5 because then I would think if San Francisco wins tonight, they've got the momentum.
Oh, they do.
And the Reds
Yeah,
have really got their
absolutely.
backs against
Jacob,
the
you
wall.
heard it? Latos is on?
I read that if they did want to bring up Mike Leake, they
Yeah.
have to get permission from Major League Baseball.
They do.
And then Cueto won't be available until the World Series
That's
if
the
they make
scary
it that
part.
far.
That's right.
So he wouldn't be available for the NLCS.
Next level. That's right.
And that might be the best option because he might not be available, and then who knows if he'll be available. I've heard that some other guys can be out 2 to 3 weeks with that oblique.
Well, they
type-
weren't
type
using the
injury.
oblique word until yesterday.
Right.
At least I hadn't heard that.
Yep.
Oblique's a bigger issue.
Oh, yeah. They were saying just back spasms, which can just flare up at any time. That's what sidelines rolling every month or so because his back will just, kind of crap out on him and because he's old and he's out for 2 or 3 games.
Exactly.
So back spasms, though, you can come back from those easily. The oblique thing.
Well, I also wonder last
That's
night
bad.
as the weather, I guess the weather changed probably 15 degrees.
That's the worst part about all this.
It is. And you have to wonder if Roland, maybe his back was stiffening up on him, but, no excuses from him. I mean, he's a
Right.
class act. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. Brandon Phillips had a little calf issue
He did.
last night. And you're like,
Coming
yeah,
out of the-
that's what I hate about the long season. Why do they have to play 162 games?
You know why, don't you?
It's all money grab.
Money, you got
It's stupid, though, because when you get to this point in the year, every team left is a cold weather team. Washington, Baltimore, New York, Detroit, San Francisco gets cold out there at night. If it even, there's a small chance it even has to go back to San Francisco. So you think by the divisions or by the league championship series, they're all going to be cold weather cities. And you're in October. It's not fair that it's tough to stay warm. Half of baseball, you're just sitting there, and then you do go out and pull something, and it's just.
They look in the dugout, and it looks like an NFL team sitting on the bench. I mean, they're covered up. They have their toboggans on. And my other concern is, Todd Frazier. He's really been doing a lot of setting right now, and I'd love to see him play.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think you'll see him this afternoon starting at third?
Have to.
I think so, too, with Roland.
I think the only reason I think you may not see him is because Dusty is so loyal to his folks, and, Roland may want to be out there and say, "I want to make up for what I did."
Exactly. I'm sure he wants to be out there. Yeah,
but of course, my favorite, Chris Heisey. He's not, he's on the bench, and I just wish he could play a little bit more. And
we keep running Stubbs out there, but
2 hits in 3 games that's almost good for him. That's the scary thing.
And who is it? Detroit's in the same situation as the Reds are. They won the first 2 out in Oakland. Oakland ended up shutting them out last night. See, Detroit's in the same series. They're not panicking. We've got our number 2 pitcher going tonight. I don't know. Have they announced who's going for San Francisco? Do we know that?
Can we up? I'll find it.
Look that up. But hopefully, I would think
it's
Barry Zito.
That's right. It's Zito, and then I would think they can throw Kane in a game 5.
What's his record? You see
it
Zito's
is
record?
15-8.
Oh, that's better than I thought.
.15 ERA.
I was going to say it was over 5 earlier in the year. So
there's a poll on SportsCenter. Out of 1,106 voters, 59% think Barry Zito is going to get the win tonight.
Huh. Wow!
But also, it says out of 11,000, they think the Reds are going to win tonight. So who knows?
He's got that big breaker. I remember when Zito was in Oakland, you couldn't hit his breaking ball. But
he's either going to be really good or really bad. I mean, there's not been anything in between for him lately.
Right.
He's been really good or really bad. So my hope is that he will be bad and that we will, in fact, knock one into center field. Do we have a traffic report before we go to center field?
Oh, that's okay. You know what? There is an accident just reported on northbound 75 right around Glendale, Milford. I didn't see it on there. Traffic's still slow southbound on 75 pretty much just from Lockland on down to Ronald Reagan, then through that construction zone. Also an accident at Chickering and Flat Terrace. How about that? And, with the Reds game, what time is that? 4:07 is start time?
4:07.
So everybody getting down there, people just need to expect some heavier traffic downtown today. That's for sure if you're heading inbound. So it might be a little bit more difficult. Some streets are going to close off, too. So expect some problems downtown, especially if you're working downtown. Maybe you can get out earlier.
Hopefully you'll be at the game before the,
there's tickets still available. That'd be,
Well, and the people will be at the game before
everybody
people start coming home.
That's true.
That's right. All right, we're going to take a break and have center field. Put me in center field. This is ClassX Radio.
Hey, Bulldog.
ClassX Radio. Dr. Dan Francis in for the Bulldog. Had a great day. Looking at a few other thoughts here before we head out. It was about this time a year ago that Carson Palmer, the whole controversy over him, and if you weren't around then, I was, and I had some strong feelings about it.
What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm getting ready to tell you those thoughts because I'm in the stay-in-the-room guy. One of the things that I talk about is discernment. And so I wrote a piece. Matter of fact, I shared it with Lance McAllister, and I got a response back from him. Anyway, I thought we'd end with this today because I think it fits what we've been trying to talk about. Unless you've been out of the country or simply hate the idea of listening to sports, the story of the week about a year ago is easily the trade of Carson Palmer, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, to the Oakland Raiders. I am an admitted sports nut, but I usually keep my deep and discerning discussions of athletics to my sports buddies. When was the last time you heard a sports story that needed discernment? For the uninitiated, this story has all the intrigue of a John Grisham novel, a wealthy, unpopular owner of a pro football team who leads by virtue of being born, has yet another disastrous year. His team loses twice as many games as they win, and he rewards his reasonably priced coach with a contract extension. Then his company line, once all-pro quarterback, the only straight man in the ongoing circus of a team filled with media darlings and lawbreakers, says in private, "Trade me or I will retire." Translated, it means I have given you the best 8 years of my body's life. Remember that nasty ACL and the MCL tears in the 2006 playoff game and his ripped elbow in 2008. I'm now willing to walk away from $46 million rather than continue working for an owner who has the dubious distinction of being the slowest owner in NFL history to 100 wins and the fastest to 200 losses. The owner sets his jaw with the conviction of an Old Testament prophet, says in public, Carson signed a contract, he made a commitment. He gave us his word and his commitment, we expected him to perform, and if he's going to walk away from his commitment, we aren't going to reward him. He reiterated that declaration just the week before, and suddenly on Tuesday, Carson is traded. So what happened? I'm glad you asked, because this is where the discernment and piling on occurs. Immediately, sports talk radio is filled with callers who discern what a great deal the owner made in trading Carson and pile on Carson as the overhill quarterback they were glad to send to the West Coast. Discernment is the ability to detect or recognize and perceive what's going on. It's insight beyond the obvious and outside the realm of facts. Discerning people have more than knowledge. They have understanding and perspective. Spiritually speaking, discernment enters into the realm of wisdom. What can we discern from the story of the rich owner and the wayward quarterback? Notice the quarterback spoke to his boss in private, never strayed from the mode of communication. The owner spoke in public and belittled the quarterback's lack of commitment to his signed contract. Discerning people understand quarterback's request to be traded could cost him $46 million. The owner's decision not to trade him could save the owner those same millions. Discerning people understand the owner could talk about the quarterback honoring his commitment, yet this same owner had cut hundreds of players before their contracts were fulfilled and gave them nothing. Discerning people understand the owner in public said one thing and did another, but the quarterback in private said one thing and did exactly that one thing. Discerning people understand the owner told the city of Cincinnati they would build him a new stadium and he would put a competitive team on the field, and he didn't. Discerning people also understand this story is not about sports, but about life and words and actions and choices. It's a story about how easy it is to pile on when someone's down, a story about the power of private words spoken and lived. It's a story about public words spoken and ignored when the price tag goes up. Yep, it's a story about us all. So, Bulldog Nation, no piling on. Go out there and say what you mean and mean what you say, because every dog has its day, and I hope today is yours.